What if the answers to life's biggest questions are hidden in plain sight? Let's uncover them together. Welcome to the Divine Sorcerer, where we bridge the gap between science and spirit. Join me on a journey through iatromathematics, witchcraft, alchemy, biochemistry, and astrology. We'll explore the ancient and the modern, the mystical and the scientific. But this isn't just about what I've learned. It's about opening your mind to new possibilities and challenging the conventional wisdom you've been taught. We're diving into controversial topics and offering fresh perspectives, aiming to elevate your consciousness and spark your curiosity. From the wonders of the cosmos to the secrets of ancient texts, we'll uncover the hidden knowledge that can transform the way you see the world. So, are you ready to embark on this enlightening adventure? Hit that subscribe button and join the Divine Sorcerer community, where we explore the unknown and rise to a higher state of understanding. Let's unlock the secrets of the universe, one discovery at a time. See you in the next video. Stay curious, stay enlightened.
To embark on the profound and, honestly, often challenging journey of self-discovery is to venture into the intricate labyrinth of the human psyche. We navigate our lives adorned with a carefully constructed persona, a curated collection of traits, beliefs, and behaviors we present to the world. This outward-facing self, while essential for social navigation and maintaining a sense of identity, often obscures a vast and largely unexplored territory within, the realm of the shadow. This hidden landscape, teeming with disowned aspects of ourselves, suppressed emotions, and unacknowledged motivations, exerts a powerful, often unconscious influence on our thoughts, feelings, and actions. So, to truly know ourselves, to understand the deep currents that drive our choices and shape our experiences, necessitates a courageous descent into this inner darkness. That's the practice of shadow work, and really, the intricate art of decoding the self. The concept of the shadow, most notably articulated by the Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung, refers to the unconscious aspects of our personality that the conscious ego does not identify with or even actively represses. Now, this isn't just some kind of repository of negativity or undesirable traits. Instead, the shadow includes everything we consider unacceptable, shameful, weak, or even potentially powerful and creative, but which we've learned to disown, often because of societal conditioning, family expectations, or, well, traumatic experiences. These banished aspects don't simply disappear. They linger in the unconscious, subtly coloring our perceptions, fueling our projections onto others, and manifesting in unexpected and sometimes destructive ways. Consider, for a moment, the individual who vehemently criticizes others for being arrogant. That intense judgment might actually stem from their own repressed feelings of superiority, or maybe a deep-seated fear of being seen as arrogant themselves. The disowned trait, unable to find conscious expression, ends up projecting outward, creating a kind of distorted mirror that reflects the very quality they deny within. Similarly, someone who consistently attracts manipulative partners might, on some unconscious level, harbor a need to be controlled, or perhaps a belief that they're not worthy of healthy relationships. The shadow, in its quiet yearning for integration, can orchestrate external experiences that mirror its internal landscape, perpetuating patterns of behavior and relational dynamics that leave us feeling confused and often victimized. The journey of decoding the self really begins with recognizing the existence and the pervasive influence of this shadow self. It asks us to be willing to look beyond the carefully constructed facade and acknowledge the uncomfortable truths that lie beneath. Now, this isn't about self-flagellation or getting stuck on perceived flaws. Rather, it's an act of radical self-acceptance, recognizing that the shadow is an intrinsic part of the human experience. It's a byproduct of the very process of individuation, of becoming a distinct and functioning member of society. As we develop a sense of self, we inevitably define ourselves against certain qualities, pushing those not me aspects into the unconscious. Our dreams offer another rich source of information from the unconscious. Jung considered dreams to be a direct communication from the deeper self, often presenting symbolic representations of our shadow aspects, unresolved conflicts, and potential for growth. Paying attention to the figures, emotions, and narratives within our dreams can provide valuable insights into the hidden dynamics of our psyche. Recurring dream themes or particularly vivid and unsettling images often point to areas requiring conscious attention and integration. Furthermore, exploring our patterns of behavior can illuminate the unconscious forces at play. Do we consistently sabotage our successes? Do we repeatedly find ourselves in unhealthy relationships? Do we struggle with procrastination or self-destructive habits? These recurring patterns often stem from underlying beliefs and emotional wounds residing in the shadow. By honestly examining these patterns, we can begin to uncover the hidden motivations and fears that drive them. For instance, a pattern of self-sabotage might be rooted in a deep-seated fear of success, or a belief that we don't deserve good things. The journey of self-decipherment through shadow work also involves reclaiming the positive aspects that we have relegated to the shadow. Often, in our efforts to conform or avoid perceived negative traits, we also suppress our natural talents, creativity, and authentic expressions of joy and power. Perhaps we were told as children not to be show-offs, leading us to dim our light and suppress our confidence. Or maybe we were shamed for expressing vulnerability, causing us to bury our capacity for empathy and connection. Shadow work encourages us to identify and reclaim these disowned positive qualities, integrating them into our conscious self and allowing us to live more fully and authentically. The process of integrating the shadow is not about eradicating it. The shadow is an inherent part of being human, and attempting to eliminate it entirely is both futile and potentially harmful. Instead, the goal is to bring the unconscious into conscious awareness, to understand its influence, and to integrate its energies in a healthy and constructive way. This involves acknowledging and accepting the disowned aspects of ourselves with compassion and understanding. It means recognizing that our flaws are often the flip side of our strengths, and that our vulnerabilities can be sources of empathy and connection. As we begin to decode ourselves through shadow work, we often experience a profound shift in our self-perception and our interactions with the world. We become less reactive and more responsive as we gain a deeper understanding of the underlying motivations behind our emotions and behaviors. Our projections onto others diminish as we become more aware of our own inner landscape. We develop greater self-compassion and acceptance, recognizing the inherent complexity and imperfections of the human experience. This journey is not always easy. Confronting our shadow can be uncomfortable, even painful, as it requires us to face aspects of ourselves that we have long tried to avoid. It may involve revisiting past traumas, acknowledging difficult emotions, and challenging deeply ingrained beliefs. However, the rewards of this inner exploration are immense. By integrating our shadow, we gain access to a greater reservoir of energy, creativity, and authenticity. We become more whole, more integrated, and more capable of living a life aligned with our true selves. Decoding the self through shadow work is a lifelong process, a continuous unfolding of the intricate tapestry of our inner world. It requires courage, honesty, and a commitment to self-awareness. It is a journey of reclaiming the disowned parts of ourselves, both light and dark, and integrating them into a more complete and authentic sense of being. By embracing our shadow, we step out of the confines of our carefully constructed persona and begin to truly discover who we are, why we do the things we do, and ultimately, how to live a more fulfilling and meaningful life. This deep dive into the sunken self is not a descent into darkness, but rather an ascent into wholeness, a radiant homecoming to the totality of our being. And in speaking of our being, did you know that we come from the universe? You see, in hermetics, the principle of as above, so below is more than just a statement or a catchy little verse. It means so much more. Let's take a moment to look at how the universe and the human body are equal, how we are really made of star stuff, as the famous Carl Sagan stated. Energy, in its myriad forms, serves as the fundamental currency of the universe, orchestrating the grand ballet of cosmic evolution and the intricate mechanisms of life itself. From the unfathomable power unleashed at the dawn of time to the delicate electrochemical signals that flicker within the human brain, energy drives every transformation and interaction. This essay aims to trace the remarkable journey of this essential force, commencing with the nuclear furnace at the heart of our sun and culminating in the neural activity that underpins human thought, emotion, and consciousness. In doing so, it will explore how the flow of energy through the food chain and the electrical activity within our brains can be perceived as interconnected manifestations of a fundamental universal vibration, a cosmic rhythm that echoes from the universe's earliest moments. The Sun, a main sequence star, stands as the primary source of energy for our solar system and, consequently, for life on Earth. This prodigious energy originates from the process of nuclear fusion occurring within its core. At the Sun's heart, under immense pressure and temperatures reaching millions of degrees Celsius, hydrogen nuclei, or protons, undergo a series of nuclear reactions collectively known as the proton-proton chain. This multi-step process involves the fusion of 4 protons into a single helium nucleus. The initial step typically involves the fusion of 2 protons, which can lead to the formation of deuterium, a nucleus containing 1 proton and 1 neutron, along with the emission of a positron and a neutrino. Subsequently, a 3rd proton can collide with this deuterium nucleus, resulting in the formation of helium-3 and the release of a gamma ray. The process culminates with the collision of 2 helium-3 nuclei, producing a helium-4 nucleus and 2 additional protons. Every second, the Sun converts an astounding 620 million metric tons of hydrogen into 616 million metric tons of helium. This conversion is not perfectly efficient. Approximately 4 million metric tons of matter are lost in the process. This apparent loss of mass is, in fact, a conversion into energy, governed by Albert Einstein's renowned equation, E equals mc squared. Even a minute fraction of mass converted into energy yields a tremendous output. For instance, the conversion of just 4 grams of hydrogen to helium releases enough energy to power a 60-watt light bulb for over a century. The Sun's total energy output is approximately 3.8 times 10 to the 26th power joules per second, radiating outwards from its core. This energy escapes the Sun primarily in the form of electromagnetic radiation. This broad spectrum of radiation encompasses various wavelengths, including visible light, ultraviolet light, infrared radiation, radio waves, X-rays, and gamma rays. Of the sunlight that reaches the Earth's surface, a significant portion falls within the visible light spectrum, around 42 to 43%, accompanied by infrared radiation, which makes up about 52 to 55%, and a smaller amount of ultraviolet radiation, roughly 3 to 5%. The electromagnetic radiation emanating from the Sun provides the essential energy for life on Earth, primarily through the remarkable process of photosynthesis. Green plants, algae, and certain microorganisms, acting as primary producers, harness this solar energy and convert it into chemical energy in the form of glucose, a sugar molecule that serves as a fundamental energy source for biological systems. This conversion is facilitated by chlorophyll, a green pigment located within chloroplasts in plant cells. Chlorophyll absorbs specific wavelengths of visible light, particularly in the red and blue regions of the spectrum, while reflecting green light, which is why plants appear green. The overall chemical reaction of photosynthesis can be summarized as 6 molecules of carbon dioxide plus 6 molecules of water in the presence of light energy yield 1 molecule of glucose and 6 molecules of oxygen. This process occurs in 2 main stages: the light-dependent reactions and the light-independent reactions, also known as the Calvin cycle. The light-dependent reactions take place in the thylakoid membranes within chloroplasts. Here, light energy is captured by photosystem 1 and photosystem 2, energizing electrons and leading to the splitting of water molecules producing ATP, adenosine triphosphate, and ADPH, nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate, and oxygen as a byproduct. The energized electrons move through an electron transport chain, generating a proton gradient that drives the synthesis of ATP through a process called chemiosmosis. The light-independent reactions, or Calvin cycle, occur in the stroma of the chloroplasts. This cycle utilizes the ATP and NADPH produced in the light-dependent reactions to fix carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and synthesize glucose. The Calvin cycle involves 3 key phases: carbon fixation, reduction, and regeneration of Ruby P, ribulose, 1,5-bisphosphate. The enzyme Rubisco plays a pivotal role in the initial fixation of carbon dioxide. While the theoretical maximum energy efficiency of photosynthesis is estimated to be around 26%, the actual efficiency in plants is often lower due to various environmental and physiological constraints. The chemical energy stored in glucose by plants then flows through ecosystems via the food chain, a hierarchical system where organisms consume one another. This flow can be visualized through trophic levels, with producers, plants, forming the base, followed by primary consumers, herbivores, secondary consumers, carnivores or omnivores that eat herbivores, tertiary consumers, carnivores that eat other carnivores, and so on, up to apex predators. Energy transfer between these trophic levels is inefficient, with only a fraction of the energy from one level being passed on to the next. A general rule of thumb, known as the 10% rule, suggests that approximately 10% of the energy stored as biomass at one trophic level is converted into biomass at the next level. The remaining energy is lost primarily through metabolic processes such as respiration, movement, growth, and reproduction, where a significant portion is released as heat. Energy is also lost because not all biomass is consumed, and not all consumed biomass is fully digested and assimilated. This inefficiency of energy transfer limits the length of food chains and the amount of biomass that can be supported at higher trophic levels. Humans, as omnivores, occupy various trophic levels depending on their diet. When we consume plants or animals that have eaten plants, we are indirectly utilizing the solar energy captured through photosynthesis. The glucose derived from our food is then metabolized within our bodies, including the brain, to produce ATP, the primary energy currency for all cellular activities, including the intricate electrochemical signaling within our nervous system. The human brain, despite representing only about 2% of the body's weight, consumes approximately 20% of its total energy. This substantial energy demand is primarily met by the metabolism of glucose. Within neurons, the fundamental units of the brain, communication occurs through electrochemical activity. Neurons possess a cell body, dendrites that receive signals, and an axon that transmits signals. Communication between neurons occurs at synapses, where electrical signals, known as action potentials, are converted into chemical signals in the form of neurotransmitters. These neurotransmitters bind to receptors on the postsynaptic neuron, either exciting or inhibiting its activity. The generation and propagation of action potentials along the axon rely on the movement of ions, primarily sodium and potassium, across the neuronal membrane through specialized ion channels. Maintaining the electrochemical gradients necessary for this signaling, as well as the processes of neurotransmitter release and reuptake, are energetically demanding, accounting for a significant portion of the brain's ATP consumption. ATP production in the brain primarily occurs through glycolysis, the Krebs cycle, also called the citric acid cycle, and oxidative phosphorylation, metabolic pathways that break down glucose to release energy. Energy is not merely a commodity to be consumed, but rather a fundamental aspect of the universe, existing in various forms and intricately linked to matter. Physics describes the universe in terms of energy fields, like gravitational, electromagnetic, and quantum fields, which permeate space and mediate interactions between particles. These fields, they possess energy and can transmit it across vast distances, just like how the sun's electromagnetic radiation reaches Earth. At the quantum level, the concept of vibrations becomes deeply significant, with fundamental particles potentially viewed as excitations or vibrations in these underlying quantum fields. This idea aligns with the principle of wave-particle duality, where energy and matter exhibit both wave-like, vibrational, and particle-like characteristics. The origin of this universal energy can be traced back to the Big Bang, which is, well, the prevailing cosmological model for the universe's birth, about 13.8 billion years ago. The Big Bang theory suggests an initial state of extreme heat and density, followed by rapid expansion and cooling. During the universe's earliest moments, an immense amount of energy was released. As the universe expanded and cooled, this primordial energy gradually transformed into matter, first into fundamental particles like quarks and leptons. These then combined to form protons and neutrons, and eventually atoms of hydrogen and helium. Gravity then played a crucial role in forming the first stars from these primordial gases. Within these stars, including our own sun, nuclear fusion ignited, converting hydrogen into helium and releasing vast amounts of energy. So, the very hydrogen that fuels the sun's nuclear reactions, and, in turn, the energy that sustains life on Earth and powers our brains, was created in the immediate aftermath of the Big Bang. The journey of energy from the sun's core to the electrochemical activity in our brains is, honestly, a continuous and interconnected flow. Solar energy, born from nuclear fusion of that primordial hydrogen, travels across space as electromagnetic radiation. Plants, acting as intermediaries, capture this energy through photosynthesis, transforming it into the chemical energy of glucose. This energy then enters the human body via the food chain, when we consume plants or animals that have consumed plants. Ultimately, the glucose is metabolized in our bodies, including the brain, to produce ATP, the energy currency that fuels all cellular processes, including the electrical symphony of our thoughts and consciousness. The transfer of energy through the food chain, with its inherent losses, can really be seen as a propagation of energy with diminishing intensity at each trophic level. Similarly, the rapid fluctuations in electrical potential and the transmission of signals between neurons in the brain represent a complex vibrational pattern underlying our cognitive functions. These processes, from the quantum vibrations of fundamental particles to the macroscopic energy flow in ecosystems and the rhythmic electrical activity of the brain, can all be viewed as manifestations of a fundamental universal vibration, a continuous thread of cosmic energy that connects the universe's origin to the intricacies of life and thought. In conclusion, the energy that powers our brains, allowing us to perceive, think, and feel, embarks on a truly remarkable journey. It originates in the nuclear furnace of the sun, fueled by hydrogen atoms that were forged in the crucible of the Big Bang. This energy travels across the vastness of space, is captured by the green pigment in plants, flows through the intricate web of the food chain, and finally manifests as the delicate electrochemical activity within the human brain. This continuous flow and transformation of energy, from its primordial release to the sparks of consciousness, underscores the profound interconnectedness of cosmic and biological processes, all potentially arising from a fundamental universal rhythm that resonates throughout existence. Table 1. Energy flow through a hypothetical food chain. Trophic level producers. Organism type plants. Example, organism grass. Energy available, 10,000 kilocalories. Energy transferred to next level, 1,000 kilocalories. Primary consumers, herbivore. Example, Rabbit, energy available 1000 kilocalories, energy transferred 100 kilocalories, secondary consumers carnivore, example fox. Energy available 100 kilocalories, energy transferred 10 kilocalories, tertiary consumers apex predator, example eagle, energy available 10 kilocalories, energy transferred none. Table 2, key neurotransmitters and their functions. Glutamate, excitatory learning and memory. GABA, inhibitory, reduces neuronal excitability, anxiety regulation. Dopamine, modulatory reward, motivation and motor control. Serotonin, modulatory mood regulation, sleep and appetite. Acetylcholine, excitatory, muscle contraction, memory and learning. Norepinephrine, modulatory stress response, attention and focus. Endorphins, inhibitory pain relief and feelings of pleasure. Glycine, inhibitory spinal cord, neurotransmission and motor control. That's a beautifully concise and accurate way to describe a fundamental aspect of how life on Earth functions. So, let's break down why this statement is so profound and interconnected. The journey begins with nuclear fusion deep within the sun's core. Hydrogen atoms are forced together under immense pressure and temperature, releasing tremendous amounts of energy in the form of photons, light, and other electromagnetic radiation. These photons then embark on a long and arduous journey through the sun's radiative and convective zones. They're constantly absorbed and re-emitted, gradually making their way to the surface. Eventually, this energy radiates out into space, and a tiny fraction of it reaches Earth as sunlight, encompassing a spectrum of electromagnetic radiation. Now here's the crucial intermediary step. Plants, algae, and some bacteria capture this energy through photosynthesis. They use it to convert carbon dioxide and water into glucose and oxygen. This chemical energy is stored in the bonds of the glucose molecule. Animals, including US humans, consume these plants, or other animals that have eaten plants. Through digestion, the chemical bonds in the food molecules, originally derived from sunlight, are broken down, releasing energy. Our cells, like those of all living organisms, undergo cellular respiration. This process takes glucose and, with the help of oxygen, breaks it down further, releasing energy in the form of ATP, adenosine triphosphate, the energy currency of the cell. Our brains are incredibly complex networks of neurons that communicate through electrochemical signals. These signals involve the movement of ions across neuronal membranes, creating electrical potentials and releasing neurotransmitters. The energy needed to maintain these ion gradients, synthesize neurotransmitters, and power all the intricate processes of brain function, ultimately comes from the ATP produced through cellular respiration, and that in turn traces back to the chemical energy captured from sunlight. This entire journey highlights the fundamental interconnectedness of seemingly separate phenomena, from stellar physics to biology, from photons to chemical bonds to electrochemical gradients. It connects the sun to every living organism on Earth. In the end, the journey of energy from the sun's core to the electrochemical activity in our brains is a powerful testament to the unity of the universe and the intricate web of processes that support life. It really underscores the fact that even our most complex thoughts and actions are ultimately powered by the light of a distant star, captured and transformed through a series of elegant biological mechanisms.
Why do so many seekers feel more connected after just one video? Maybe it's not the video at all. Maybe it's showing up for your own growth. Your presence here means more than you know. Every moment you spend seeking truth, choosing light, and opening your heart ripples into the world. Together, we've created a space not just for knowledge, but for transformation. So, from my soul to yours, thank you for walking this path with me. May your days ahead be guided by clarity, strengthened by purpose, and filled with peace. And until we meet again, keep rising, keep shining, and remember, the divine is always within reach. This is not the end, but a new beginning. Keep walking, keep wondering. Thank you for visiting the Divine Sorcerers channel, and we hope to see you again.